Am I the asshole for giving my mother-in-law a fake copy of my house key and exposing her at Christmas dinner? I want to preface this by saying that I, 34 female, married my husband, 37 male, a year ago. His mom is Snoopy and annoying AF. She can't help it. That is just how she is, as my dear mother-in-laws say. My husband and I purchased a new house recently. My mother-in-law kept pushing to get an emergency key. She promised that she would only use it in an emergency, but given the fact that she had an emergency key to our old apartment and walked in on us being intimate twice. But my husband didn't think it was a big deal. I just couldn't trust her, so I just sent her a fake key after she kept pushing, and she had a smug on her face after I hand delivered it to her. Days have gone by, and on Christmas dinner, mother-in-law angrily called me out on the fact that I gave her a fake copy of the house key. She shamed me for doing this in front of everyone. But in my defense, I asked her how she found out, and she said days ago when she came over at 4 while my husband was out. I reminded her, didn't you promise you wouldn't use it unless there's an emergency? So you tried to get in when there was no emergency and you broke the promise you made to us. She looked red in the face, and the other family started staring, and some even laughed at her for the face she made. She suddenly got up from her seat and rushed into the kitchen, where she had a huge meltdown so loud that the next door neighbors heard this. Literally, I've never heard a 60-plus-year-old woman throw a tantrum like that. Needless to say, dinner went awkward, and my husband and his sister were giving me looks. My husband went off on me in the car and said I lied and manipulated and humiliated and exposed his mom, and said he wouldn't have let me get away with it if he had known. We had an argument, and he is demanding I apologize to his mom for my childish behavior and for ruining Christmas dinner for the entire family. Giving my mother-in-law a fake copy of my house key and exposing her on Christmas dinner. Edit to add. So this went off unexpectedly, and I thought I'd show my husband some pretty helpful comments I found here minutes ago, but he got mad at me when he saw it and said I was nuts to talk about his family online. He demanded my phone so he could delete it, but I refused, and I went upstairs and into the bedroom. I have never seen him so agitated, and I didn't think he'd react like that, honestly. But thank you guys for your support. It really means so much. I'll update if I can. Thanks again. Okay, and the top comment coming in with 43,000 upvotes. Not the asshole. I would rethink my marriage if my husband put his mother before me. Next comment, 12,000 upvotes. Yeah, this needs to be dealt with before they have kids, because it will only get more and more out of hand, and you don't want her having meltdowns in front of the kids. Next comment, 9,000 upvotes. This actually happened in a different post on a different Reddit forum. The husband was a typical quote-unquote mama's boy, resulting in mother-in-law being entitled and bold AF. OP had recently had a baby, was busy taking care of her, and would wake up in the middle of the night to feed her. Then one night she went to go feed her baby. She saw that her child wasn't in her crib. She freaked out and went to go wake up her husband, then got a picture message of her child from her mother-in-law saying, "Spending the night at grandma's," or something, and OP went the F off. Next comment, 7,000 upvotes. Can you imagine mother-in-law taking kids without permission? The audacity, having an effing tantrum in front of everyone, kids included, when being called out, yuck. And my vote, this girl is not the asshole. If anything, she sounds like a legend for calling out her mother-in-law in front of everyone. It sounds like from their relationship, she isn't really liked by mother-in-law. So I fully support this lady with what she did. And my vote, she is not the asshole. But let me know what you guys think. Also, I was able to find that story they're talking about, and that's going to be the asshole for going off on my mother-in-law for kidnapping my 4-week-old baby in the middle of the night. I made a throwaway for this because my husband knows my username and I don't feel like being surrounded by any more drama right now. So, a little backstory. My husband is an only child. His mom has always been very involved. We got along somewhat, but she always sort of crossed some lines. She has a key to our house for emergency purposes only because she lives 4 blocks away. I had our daughter 4 weeks ago. She has been over at least 3 days every week since I've had her. She's always telling me what I'm doing wrong and how she'd do things so differently. Baby is up every 2 hours at night and she insists that she would sleep through the night if she could stay at grandma's. I told her I'm not comfortable sending a breastfed baby away overnight at 4 weeks old. This last week, she kept pushing the issue no matter how many times I said no. Last night, we put the baby in her crib. We stopped room sharing because the baby was so loud, I could get no sleep whatsoever. So my husband has been getting her when it's time for her to feed. Husband fell asleep early and I dozed off. I woke up 4 hours later and started to panic because she hadn't made any noise. I was sure she had died of SIDS. I went into her room and she was gone. I froze and started screaming her name around the house like she would somehow pop out like it was all a joke. My husband woke up in a panic and just screamed, "What's going on?" over and over. I ran to my phone to call 911 and I saw a picture message from my mother-in-law of my sleeping baby in her arms with the caption, quote unquote, "sleepover at Gam Gam's." I was immediately enraged. I screamed so hard I almost vomited. I called her and saw red. I told her I was coming to get my baby and she would never see her again and to never contact our family again. My husband decided it was best if he went to get her. When he came back, he said his mother decides to let herself in and quote unquote give us a break. That she was sure we'd hear the text and she thought we would be thanking her for a night's sleep. I do not give a flying F. I hate her. I cannot forgive her for this. My husband thinks I need to calm down. Get our key back. His lack of urgency about the situation makes me want to divorce him. We have never had any issues before this, but this feels like a deal breaker to me. I already had PPA and now it's through the roof. Postpartum anxiety. I don't feel safe in my own home with my family. I hate my mother-in-law. I hate my husband. When I think about what happened, I sob uncontrollably. I can't sleep now that I know I can't protect my baby when I sleep. I can't believe I did not wake up. I feel like the biggest piece of caca mother. If any danger really came, I would have let my daughter down. Am I the asshole for overreacting for wanting a divorce or for never wanting to see my mother-in-law again? My husband and mother-in-law think it's my hormones and that I have overreacted. Am I overreacting? I just needed to talk about it with non-involved parties. I have no friends or family for hundreds of miles. Oh, and she also fed her formula while she had her, but that's the least of my worries. It still infuriates me because breastfeeding has really been hard for us. Top comment: first of all, I hope you are doing okay right now. Second of all, you are 100% right. Your mother-in-law absolutely kidnapped your child. I'd contact the police if you haven't already. If you ultimately decide you need a restraining order or end up in a custody dispute with your husband, this is essential. You must protect yourself and your baby first. As far as your husband is concerned, I love that you decided to not make any rash decisions right now. That said, I would absolutely give him an ultimatum. The behavior from mother-in-law is criminal. The behavior from your husband is unacceptable. Next comment: I keep coming back to this with my heart in my mouth. Please update us again if and when you can, OP. Your post made me sick to my stomach. I am nauseous just thinking about how you must have felt when you were frantically looking for your new baby. What do you guys think about this? Let me know.